Hi, Roxanne. It's always a pleasure to see you locked on. Again, if you've seen it a little dark, probably by next week I'll get my next ring light, but the show must go on. And today is another start of the week, the last Monday in the year for 2024. Next Monday will be 2025, and by Wednesday, God's spare, it will be the first day of the month of January 2025. What a difference that they make, and so much things would have happened within 24 hours. Things are changing quickly, and we have to be able to move quickly with the times. So I promise you all today I would try to do some type of year-end review. And I have something, I don't know if it could rival any news station or anything, but this is Gen style. I usually have good news first, and this good news is a little different today. And we'll end the year on something different to start the new year. Hi, Roxanne. Hi, Yvette. Hi, Jonathan. Hi, Margaret. Hi, Nadia. So by now, everybody knows that Trinidad and Hi, Kenneth, Trinidad and Tobago is in a state of emergency, legally. We knew that we were in a state of emergency when we were seeing what was happening with crime. However, the government would have taken the decision based on advice from the law enforcement personnel, intelligence personnel, and something would have happened over the weekend that would have exacerbated the situation. So it's not just one incident, it's something that has been happening. And everybody was calling for a state of emergency. So I don't understand now how some may be having challenges with a state of emergency. You get what you wanted, a state of emergency, because people do not want to behave, they do not want to adhere to the law, and these things happen. So let me just read something here. Give me a minute. Hi, Augustus. Augustus. State of emergency. So this, I'm just waiting for it to load. This is in the apnnews.com. Trinidad and Tobago enacts a state of emergency in the face of gang violence. It's dated December the 30th, 2024, and it says, Port of Spain, Trinidad and Tobago, a spike in deadly gang violence prompted the Caribbean island of Trinidad and Tobago to implement a countrywide state of emergency on Monday. The declaration followed a weekend marked by a spate of gang-related violence that resulted in multiple deaths, including 5 men believed to be victims of reprisal shootings. There is no doubt in my mind that we are dealing with an epidemic, National Security Minister Fitzgerald Hines told reporters at a press conference. While the state of emergency will not see a curfew being implemented, residents were told to expect an increased police and military presence. Law enforcement will also have the ability to conduct searches, detain suspects for 48 hours, and conduct arrests without a warrant. Schools, businesses, and other activities, including upcoming New Year's celebration, expected to proceed as scheduled. Acting Attorney General Stuart Young, SC, stressed that while there was general concern about the increased violence, there was particular unease about increased and heightened acts of criminal activities by gangs carrying illegal weapons. The criminal gangs, via the use of the high-powered assault weapons and possibly to be their brazen acts of violence in reprisal shootings on a scale so extensive that it threatens persons that will endanger public safety. And will endanger public safety, Young said. The Twin Island Republic has recorded an unprecedented 623 homicides for the year to date, and according to Hines, gang-related activities have accounted for Trinidad and Tobago. In 2021, the Dr. Keith Rowley administration implemented one to restrict movements and limit the spread of COVID-19 virus during the pandemic. 10 years earlier, his predecessor, Kamna Prasad predecessor, instituted a limited state of emergency and curfew in areas that were declared crime hotspots. So there it is there. Let me read some more. A summary of what would have transpired. Give me a minute. So we have highlights from the media conference on Trinidad and Tobago state of emergency. No curfew. At this time, no curfew will be implemented. Purpose of the state of emergency, SOE, is who pose a threat to public safety, particularly those involved in criminal activities and the illegal use of firearms. Freedom of assembly. Public meetings and marches will not be restricted under these regulations. Power of arrest. The Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, TTPS, will have the authority to arrest individuals on suspicion of involvement in emergency regulations. 1. State and entry or search and entry. The TTPS will have the power to search and enter both public and private premises as necessary. Suspension of bail. Bail provision will be suspended under the regulation enacted. Members of the defense force will operate under similar regulations to the TTPS, supporting law enforcement efforts during the SOE. No curfew. At this time, no curfew will be implemented. Purpose, just now. Yeah, somebody posted it. Right. So those two were highlights from the state of emergency. And I see somebody bigging up. Also, let's Carter, real journalists in this country, the times of deceased Neil Giuseppe, Alison Hennessy, Edward Pilgrim, God rest their souls. We still have Dominic Calipasad with us. Sharon Pitt, I'm not too sure about her status. But I can go on and on. Those were the days we had who would get to the bottom of the issue, regardless of whatever party or whoever they're interviewing. That you'll get a sense of knowing that they know what they're asking and to ask the question first. With Aka Samaru, I think it's like kindergarten. And I think it is not done based, this is my opinion, it is not done based on any type of professionalism. I think it is done on a slant that, in my opinion, he may be favoring the UNC. That's just my opinion. Because I don't see the way that he asks questions to young people who don't know about journalism. They might think in this era that, yeah, bringing it to them and he give. But Aka Samuel cannot go and sit in an international audience with no journal. Well, he could go sit with them, but probably to stay quiet. He can't go out there and with that behavior, people will look at him like he really come from a banana republic. So all this praise they're giving to him, I think is highly overrated. Again, that's my opinion. However, let me continue. So when Kamla Prasad Bisesa and they continue to speak about the state of crime and they were asking for something to be done, now something is being done. She must remember also the role that the UNC or PP would have played in it. For example, going to the Privy Council to get a 150-year-old law that has been there, I think, in the Commonwealth, where murder accused cannot get bail. Her lawyers went and fight for that. So the first time in history, we have people who are suspected of murder, go to the court, they get bail, they come back out. They fought down the gun amendment bill. I think the one where the police could hold you for a certain amount of hours and then trace the gun and all that, they fight down that. So what actually is there to keep somebody who has that like mind to commit crime from doing it? If you can get bail and if they can't hold you and all these things. So Kamla Prasad's sister need to ask herself, and her lawyers need to ask themselves, what is their role also in the crime escalation? And then we heard, as I played several times, Ansel Roger is speaking about the fact that under the PP government 2010 to 15, they destroyed all of our security apparatus. They got rid of the blimp. They canceled the OPVs that would have been. Those things were able to do inshore and then go out and stay out for much months or whatever the case may be. People were being trained in foreign countries to come back with the new technology and all that. They scrap all those things. People lost their jobs and all that. And we heard a gentleman, I don't know his name really, who is suggesting and alleging that UNC businessmen are part of this. I do not know. I'm just saying those things out there. And when I see Kamla Prasad Bisesa and her feigned or her false sense of concern, if it was not so sad, it would have been amusing. So Kamla Prasad Bisesa has responded to the state of emergency called by the government. And this is what she had to say. This was 3 hours ago. Hi, Rebecca. Hi, Emmeline. Hi, Sarah. Kamla, SOE decoration. Oh gosh, what's happening with this thing? I'm not a robot. Just give me a minute. This. I don't have no time to go through no thing to see if I really know no thing. Lord have mercy. Verify what? Only give me a minute, please. All stairs, all please match all these things. Stairs. This thing just have me now. I have to go through a whole. Let me see if I can get this somewhere else. Let me see if I get straight from thing. This thing is telling me all kind of crap out. Verify whether or not it's a robot and all kind of thing, and the story is not opening up. So let me try somewhere else. For Kamla's response. Hi, Rosemary. Let me see if I can get it here quickly. Okay. Give me a weekend. Give me a weekend. Give me a minute. Is that true? Yes. Let me see if I get it here. Okay. Let me try this. Let me try this again. Let me try this again. Okay, let me see if I can get it from here. Well, just give me a minute, right? So, Opposition Leader Kamla Persad-Bissessel has responded to the declaration of a state of emergency in Trinidad and Tobago. The following is her statement. Opposition Leader, I called for a state of emergency SOE in January 2024, as I correctly predicted that failure to do so would result in a most murderous year. I was wrongly condemned by the Prime Minister and his political and business community supporters. Many lives could have been saved had they heeded my advice at the beginning of the year. This SOE was not called because of any genuine concern for the safety of citizens, but rather as a shameless act of political gimmickry to be used as propaganda for the upcoming general elections. The Prime Minister could not find the courage to address the nation. This is undoubtedly the most insulting act of cowardice and disrespect we have ever witnessed from this lazy, greedy old man. After listening to a most pathetic government press conference this morning, it is clear that the SOE was not called because of any genuine concern for safety of citizens, but rather as a shameless act of political gimmickry to be used as propaganda and this put over the whole thing again. The government is drowned in self-made failure and has resorted again to using the dead cat tactics, whereby they make a shocking announcement to divert attention away from society's problems and issues. This government continues to embarrass itself and has become a laughingstock. Where was the Prime Minister? The SOE lacks a seriousness as evident as Rowley did not find it important to attend the press conference to address citizens, but chose to Gulf and Tobago and enjoy the 50 million taxpayers' dollars for fetting and rum drinking. The Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago is the head of the National Security Council, yet he has gone into hiding. Is he afraid of the very criminals that have caused so much death and destruction in our country? How could it be that, with over 625 persons murdered in 2024, the Prime Minister could not find the courage to address the nation? This is undoubtedly the most insulting act of cowardice and disrespect we have ever witnessed, and they say it over and over again. Minister's contradiction. Trinidad and Tobago has just recorded the highest murder rate in the history, and she just goes on and on and on and on. Kamla Persad-Bissessel seems to be projecting how she feels about herself because she actually is the most laziest and greedy and drunk Prime Minister we ever had. They would have said themselves that she enjoyed 5-day weekend. They would have told us how drunk she does be till she can't come to work. She does fall long drunk all over. She peed on PM1, that she don't know anything. She always advised. So I think it's herself she's speaking about, and people tend to project themselves on people in denial of the fact that who they are. So Kamla Persad-Bissessel should be the last one to talk about lazy and greedy. I think that's a narrative. So somebody probably wake up from her drunken stupor in she dirty underwear, yellow underwear, from she Pink Palace, and tell she had to say something. So she's saying something. Let somebody else from your party talk, not you, Kamla Persad-Bissessel. You have been a laughingstock of the Caribbean. You have been a laughingstock internationally, and you have been a laughingstock in Trinidad and Tobago also, if you didn't know. I don't know if you because of your stupor, because there's others who say that you have an alcoholic problem, a monkey on your back. I don't know if your stupor is really starting and the excess drinking is starting to kill off your gray brain cells so that your cognitive thinking is not where it's supposed to be. But it makes no sense. Just like a reporter today made no sense, you also made no sense. Again, I don't have a problem with people opposing the government or anybody, but at least make sense and try to sound at least cohesive, try to sound as if you have a critical thinking mind, and try to sound intelligent, which none of the above Kamla Persad-Bissessel ever does. So she's saying that this year, January, she would have told the government to have a SOE because she predicted murders. And again, she's saying that, and then listening to what that guy said on the tape, then it puts your mind to think, what if? Yeah. And when we heard Darius Figaro, who's a criminologist, would have spoken about, paraphrasing now, that businessmen, what's happening with the kidnapping and all that in South, I'm quoting, Or in my opinion, what I think he was saying is that whatever criminal activity or whatever, people wants the money, they can't pay, and those things are happening. It's not me saying those things. I'm not a criminologist. I could only read what they have. So when you take in the context, all people have said about Kamla Prasad, Bissessa, Roger, Anisette, Abdullah, and the whole crew. Not so much Anisette, but Roger and Abdullah. And you hear Jack Warner, you heard Winston Gypsy Peters, and so many others. You have to wonder if she knows something. I don't know, I'm just asking. But definitely the lazy and greedy, it applies to Kamla Prasad Bissessa because it is now she's the highest paid politician in this country. And she does nothing. She just shows up and be very disruptive and be very incoherent in speaking. The French should share and Queen Elizabeth too, and all kind of foolishness. That's how she behaves when she's in parliament. Makes no blasted sense at all. Yeah. So I want to remind her of this. And why did she keep her SOE? Because we know at the end of her SOE it was illegal, one, because it was a limited state of emergency in the East-West corridor, while across the Caroni Bridge it was free movement. And not only that, 9,000 African youths were just picked up from around the Nelsons and around those areas, locked up without a charge. So I want to hear what she's saying about the SOE when she declared it in 2012, I think it was. Because I'm damn sure with this SOE, no 9,000 African youth or no 9,000 Indian youth is not going to be locked up without any charge. I'm confident of that. So Prime Minister declared state of emergency. This was in 2011. It was in The Guardian. In an open declaration of war on crime, Prime Minister Kamla Prasad Bissessa has announced the institution of a limited state of emergency in several areas deemed to be crime hotspots. Effective as of midnight last night, Kamla Prasad Bissessa, after an emergency meeting with members of the National Security Council and her cabinet at her private Philippine San Fernando residence. She was not at the diplomatic center. It is alleged she so wanted to stay down in the Philippines because then she want nobody to see the condition she does be in. It has been alleged. Who is more lazy? You keep in a cabinet meeting in your house and not in the diplomatic center. So let me continue. An illegal state of emergency at that. The limited state of emergency will take effect from midnight tonight, that's Sunday. A tough token Prasad Bissessa, backed by Acting Chief of Defense Staff Brigadier General Kenrick Maharaj, Commanding Officer of the Army, Colonel Anthony Philip Spencer, Deputy Police Commissioner Stephen Williams, and Prisons Commissioner John Roger said, this is not an easy decision to make. It is not a light thing to trigger Section 8(1) of our Constitution. But when it is that the circumstances call for it, I do believe that as a leader of our nation, it is our duty first and foremost to give the greatest protection we can give to our citizens. The Prime Minister linked the crime surge to the recent success of the police in seizure of large drug hauls, the value of which has never been has been in the excess of 20 million. These large sums of money do not just disappear from the drug trade without consequences, and in some of the cases now occurring, the question isn't just what is causing it, but what we have to do. How can we deal with it, she said. I do not believe that any one of us can continue to wake up every morning to see the blood of our children on the soil of our land. And so there comes a time, I believe, in the history of a nation when we have to take very strong action, very decisive action, she declared. The Prime Minister, speaking briefly with reporters after the briefing, said the 11th murder in one day was the breaking point for the government. She dismissed the notion that crime was out of control, saying, however, it is a cause for concern. She said, the current crime spree dictates that more must be done and stronger action must be employed now. The situation cannot continue to be like this without a response of the commensurate with a wanton act of violence and lawlessness, the PM said. It must be a response as well that halts the current spike in crime activity and crime in general in the shortest possible time. While she shied away from revealing the areas identified as hotspots, the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian understands that 11 communities have been named with limited state of emergency. Just a couple more, because I want to get to the end of this to say what I have to say. Okay, give me a minute, which I was just limiting the period. John Sandy. Later today, National Security Minister John Sandy is expected to hold a media briefing where he will give updates terms of the state of emergency, how it will work, and the specific areas that will be affected. The Constitution provides for 3 days of a limited state of emergency and a notification to the Speaker of the House for 15 days. Another period over 15 days will require the calling of the Parliament into session for approval. She said the state of emergency will be reviewed on a daily basis. The proclamation issued by the President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, George Maxwell Richards, declaring a state of emergency was read by the Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar last night after an emergency meeting with the National Security Council. The proclamation read, and it have it there, whatever, right? The areas that Anna Ram Logan said affected are Port of Spain, the city of Port of Spain, City of San Fernando, Borough of Arima, Borough of Chaguanas, Diego Martin Regional Corporation, San Juan Lavente Regional Corporation. However, the areas that they locked up 9,000 youth wasn't from them areas, and them it was from East-West Corridor, mainly around Laventille and environs. Kamala Persad-Bissessar also said that Dr. Rowley was not at the press conference. He was afraid. If you have the Attorney General there, the Acting Attorney General there, and the Minister of National Security, what is the purpose of the Prime Minister being there? Because he still have to hand it over to them to speak anyway. Is he the Attorney General? Is he the Acting Attorney General? Had he been the Acting Attorney General, okay, he will be there. Is he the Minister of National Security? Had he been Acting Minister of Security, he will be there. But the 2 persons that treated the matter, because he's not no lawyer, are the persons who was there. So what is the big issue? So because you came out in 2011 and stood up and speak this, you only talk that all because probably must then pump with alcohol. So they have you coherent. I'm just saying based on the fact they say it's alcoholic. So this Pepsi does always want to get and this mediocre, and that's the whole thing, you know. The UNC, I have a lot of people who are very mediocre. And there is one praise for that. Kamala Persad-Bissessar gave herself still. Even Israel Khan, who talking today, said she should give it back because the inner circle and the inner bag don't recognize she because she never win no big case, not NATO. Paraphrasing. Mediocre. And that is what the UNC is, a bunch of mediocre. What has Saddam Hussein done? What has Barry Parada done of any significance? What has David Lee done other than being on $1 million bail? What has Rambali? What has Ratiram? What has Khadija Mohit? What have they done of any significance in this country to deserve that type of accolades they just want to get? So I continue. So as simple as I can put it from what I was reading or hearing, the state of emergency, and I think what happened, it catch Kamala Persad-Bissessar and them off guard because they were expecting the whole country to shut down. So they gotta come and say, oh, people freedoms are taken away. What about Carnival? And look what they're doing all here. The dictator pressing all here. The slave master pressing all here. Because you know they build up this story. He's a house slave and we feel slaves. So they build up that and then he wicked and evil and he's a tyrant. So they bring all that together today. But they get a master stroke, they don't know how to respond. Because with this SOE, where people, I met people today in town and they are agreeing with it. Some may have said it could have been sooner, but basically they're agreeing with it. Whether they have Indian descent or African descent. I ain't see any Chinese in Port of Spain, and I ain't going no Syrian store to ask them anything, but I will read what Duma would have said. They're in agreement with it. Because of this SOE, it does not interfere with law-abiding citizens, because law-abiding citizens is not who give in trouble. So this is targeted to those who give trouble in the society, who are not law-abiding, and the police will know who they are. I don't know who they are, and I don't want to know. But based on that, they are able now to deal with those individuals and don't have to be caught up in the courthouse and trying to get search warrant and waiting for a judge to get them, and they go and call a lawyer and all that. Isn't that what we want? That the government and the police and whatever deal with the criminal elements, because we're trying to live our life as peaceful and law-abiding as it. That is not what we want. So we wouldn't be disrupted. We could go ahead our business. And if you in our society who continue for whatever reason to not want to obey the law, the court know who they are, the police know who they are, because sometimes when anything happens, they say, this one known to the police. So the police know. So them as the one they will go by now and have whatever conversation, whatever the case may be. Let us see how it goes. Today is just the first day. And I am sure, unlike I heard some young people on radio today, that the government didn't get up this morning and say, you know what, let's have a state emergency. I am quite certain that this has been planning for a while, putting the things in place, and then when it's done out, action has already started to take place. I'm quite sure it is a very proactive and offensive approach rather than reactive and a defensive approach. So let us wait and see how it works. And then after we will be able to have we say the negative ones, right? So let me read what Doma said about it. And Doma is the Downtown Merchants Association. So let me see what it's saying. Please open. I am really stressed. So December the 30th. Oh gosh, what's wrong with this thing in CNC3? President of the Downtown Owners and Merchants Association, DOMA, Gregory Aboud, is showing support behind the government's latest targeted approach at arresting the crime situation. During an interview with Guardian Media, Aboud explained that a state of emergency is necessary and should take specific aim at those behind the illegal arms trade. It will cause inconveniences to the public, but it is intended to cause greater inconvenience to the criminals in Trinidad and Tobago, including anybody in high places who have been orchestrating the importation of guns and all the dangers that have been brought upon us by the actions over the few years that has seen the murderous spree in Trinidad and Tobago. We hope whatever action is taken, it is taken across all strata of society, and whoever is responsible for this volume of all this weaponry will be brought to book. Aboud said members of the business community have since been expressing optimism over the latest efforts by the government to peg back criminals. So that was Duma there. And of course, they will come and say, he's a 1% and Rowley own him. And he had to say, and he could talk that because his business will be affected, and all that they're going to talk, other than say, this is a good thing, let us see how it works. But we'll await that. You see how Philip Alexander dragged the fisherman and the sea person. That man is not my favorite person, but I listened to what he said, and he has I listen to people when they have something positive to say, or something constructive, or something logical to say, whether I like them or not, right? He said some things that are very crucial, and then we saw the backlash that he got from one of the owners. I keep telling you, that Philip Alexander could move up and down, and he know the poor, and he know the suffering, and the African people suffer, all that. At the end of the day, don't be fooled, he is a Syrian Lebanese. Yeah? And what he's entitled to with the white privilege that comes with that, me and you, no matter what he say and how he try to identify, we don't have that. So don't let them fool all over that. So I'm also seeing tribe, which is interesting. Again, this is from Hi Angela. I'm waiting for this to open. It says here, Creative Director of Tribe, Valmiki Maharaj, says the government's recently announced state of emergency is necessary as Carnival 2025 nears. In a statement, Maharaj added that management will cooperate fully with the authorities as they work towards ensuring a safe and secure environment for members of the public. Maharaj described Carnival as a traditional period of national pride, celebrations, and tremendous economic opportunities for many in the entertainment, hospitality, and tourism sector. Right? So that is another businessman, another Syrian, coming out in support of the state of emergency. It is not a limited illegal one, and it is one that is geared to targeting the specific persons who are deemed to be unlawful and breaking law in our society. Isn't that what we wanted? Whether Dr. Raleigh was there or not, he's off golfing. Would it make a difference if he came and sat down there, because he still had to put it over to the acting attorney general and the minister of finance, so the persons who were involved in it. And to sit down to listen to the foolish questions asked by Akash Tamaru, that alone could be a stress. Because it's not stress in the sense that you can't answer, but because it makes no sense. And he postures himself as this big and he spread out and all that. Please, child. Please. You are ready. So let me continue. So I'm going to look at what would have transpired during the year. And these are some things. If you all remember anything, you all could also, remind me, because I don't remember. I don't remember everything. So I am seeing January 2024, Mr. Basde Pandey died. His funeral was held. The state asked his family if they wanted the state to be involved and pay his children, and family would have agreed. So he had a state funeral, which was tastefully done. The family was very happy, about how it was done. And people paid their respect to former Prime Minister and leader of the United National Congress, Mr. Basde Pandey. But it wasn't without his dramas. Kamla Prasad Bissessa showed up at the cremation site like it was she funeral, with a set of fanfare and people waving flag and things, totally classless and disrespecting the fact that it has nothing to do with you and there's a grieving family. Then we have Karen Ines Shishera, Kliko Shishera, and have this ballless one. When he climbing over, the ball should have snapped up in one of the railing. He climbing over Timothy Hamill Smith of HOP, climbing over the fencing to storm funeral. That is what you call political gimmickry, because there was nothing to storm. Yeah? And I know up in Sapa there, that is no big wall or nothing. They could step over that. But she wanted to make a presence and be relevant and end up looking like an ass, Karen Ines Shishera, and closely followed by Timothy Hamill Smith. So they look like two asses. So we had that happening. We also had the daughters, because Mr. Pandey, deceased, had no boy children. The boy is really the one who had liked the thing, and I'm not sure if it's called Priya. I might be totally wrong, but where they burned the body. So what happened in this case, because he had daughters, the daughters would have all lighted that. So that was new. I understand in the Hindu religion that is really the men or the boys who do it, but because he had only daughters, they would have done it. So that would have happened there with Basde Pandey, rest his soul, January. In February, we had the oil spill in Tobago, and that would have created a lot of concerns, if you all remember. this cargo ship or boat or whatever was upside down and leaking. And it took a while for the technical people to know how deep down it is, what ship it is, who ship it is, what is leaking, what is not leaking, and it created a lot of stress for Tobago, especially with the sensitive ecosystem and that. But eventually, it was cleared up. There were international techniques used to suck up the oil and that kind of thing, and people were working around the clock, so they got that under control. However, we are hearing people still complaining that they didn't get paid from that work. So we hope that they will get that sorted out. Then in March, we had the whole bacchanal with SIS or SSA, where this path, I was still think that was a Nancy story, yes, but it was real as hell, where there is a pastor and his congregation were given, if I remember correctly, given big jobs in our strategic agency, intelligence gathering agency. People who were not qualified or weren't vetted. And like he was running the show, this Pastor Brown. He even had Gary Griffith on alive with him, and Gary Griffith is a member. He church too, and who baptized one, all that. And this man's rhetoric is about putting it my way that the church could bear arms and get involved in the thing. So it appeared as though they were stuck in arms to do something. And again, intelligence would have alerted the Security Council headed by National Security Council headed by Dr. Rowley, and police and things seized that whole area, and they sent for something Spencer Phillips, something some big man from the army now who was out in foreign, I think as a diplomat or something. He came back to take charge of the whole thing. I haven't heard anything happening in a while, but there was a lot of investigations going on, and let's wait and see how that goes. But this pastor just came on the scene and talking some kind of things that it's something like a Jim Jones all over again, in my opinion. Yeah, and somebody was killed also from that who wanted to come out of the church. So it sounded almost cultish also, but Gary Griffith was a part of that also. Then in April, we had the disaster with the newborns, the preemies who would have died at Port of Spain General Hospital. I think it was about 9 or 8 preemies, if I'm not mistaken. You all could correct me. And that would have sparked a lot of debate, a lot of outrage, and a lot of misunderstanding. And Dr. Falcon came out and explained, and I will tell you my experience with it also, would have explained the fact that these babies in the neonatal ward for preemies, these babies are 6 months and under. Some of them could fit in the palm of your hand. So they're born with compromised respiratory system. They're born with, the skin is compromised because it's not formed properly. So any bacteria could go through it. So these babies' survival, especially when they are so underweight, it is it was a tragic time, and it brought back memories to me because my son was born 6 months. He was 3 pounds 3 ounces. He spent 2 weeks in Mount Hope in the preemie ward. He was in an incubator. He couldn't lift him or anything like that. He was under ultraviolet light to check for jaundice and stuff. He was being fed by a tube because he wasn't strong enough to pull on a bottle. So they had the formula in a tube, put the tube in his throat, and it was released slowly. And I will tell you, those nurses there, especially at the time when I had him, is a special bunch of nurses. They have the patient, they would sing, they would pray. It's really a beautiful thing. And when you see the size of babies there, it's frightening as hell. So when I heard what happened, I could understand how these deaths occurred, and I could also understand the pain of the parents. But I am sure the parents would have been told the chances of survivability, what chances the children have. But again, hope is hope, and when these things happen, you look for outward reason why it happened and all that. So, and the end result that Paho came down here and would have um, these investigations, and there were recommendations made. And to tell you that in Jamaica, back in about 2015, anywhere around there, they had a serious situation with a lot of babies would have died also. PAHO would have had to go there and investigate it also. And based on the recommendation of PAHO, they have been able to keep that down to a minimum level. Then there was a confusion about Kamno Pasabi Sessa built a NICU ward, that is neo-intensive care unit, neonatal intensive care unit, and that was in the hospital in Kufa, which is a lie. What it have is a pediatric. Pediatric is different than the NICU ward. Pediatric is for children who born 9 months and they have whatever little issues and stuff. That ward that they have in Policeman General, they don't have it in Cuba. So when they were born, they could have carried the children there, no, they couldn't carry them there because that ward is not for that type of children. The NICU ward is totally, totally different. It's for babies who are born under 6 months and weigh under 5 pounds. And some even born at 2 pounds, some at 3 pounds. So you could imagine. My son was 3 pounds, 3 ounces, I tell you, and we had to wrap him in blankets to be able to hold him because it was something else. So we had that happening, and then we had the 2022 media review in May 2024. And by June 2024, we had the issue with Jaiwanti Ramdas, who to this day, I would say, if she was an ordinary public officer, she would have been before a tribunal for disciplinary action for failing to carry out her duties. But because she's a creature of the Constitution, they were able to use that to their advantage. And to this day, you have people saying that $2.6 billion Comember thief it, where going and all that. And it makes no sense to even say that he thief it, because if you thief $2.6 billion, you will not be telling the Auditor General, hey, you didn't put in the $2.6 billion, right? It was explained, and all other senior public officers in that area, budgetary and customs and all that, they agreed that there was an accounting error in a new system that the central bank had put in, and because of that, the $2.6 billion would have get caught up in that. It was an error. They never said that it was a discrepancy. They never said it was fraud. They never said it was embezzlement. It was an error and a discrepancy. And when they contacted Jaiwanti when she did do her audit report, that this report is missing this 2.6, she would have asked for evidence, whatever. They went to get it, whatever. Everybody is satisfied, give it her. She's the only one who wasn't satisfied, and she's the one who didn't enter the correct figure in there. And we saw what happened. She got Anna Ram Logan because the Minister of Finance was going to have a team set up to investigate the process. And I guess she felt that she would be implicated in the process. So she gets a lawyer, and we see what happened. We go Privy Council, and it said that the Minister of Finance cannot set up an investigative team and everything at a standstill. However, she still would have presented to Parliament the audit report that is missing the $2.6 million. And just like Akash Samaru, who hailing her hero, she's not a hero. Jaiwanti Ramdas is not a hero. What she is, in my opinion, especially as a Labour person, is somebody who is inefficient, lacks professionalism, and does not know how to do her job properly, or she has brought politics into it. So she is no hero to me. Because he ain't got thief 2.6 billion and only be telling everybody, but he ain't putting the 2.6 billion and everybody agrees are counting error. And it has happened in bigger countries than ours. In one of those states in America was at 3 billion something dollars error, and for about 10 years or how much years they didn't pick up on it until recently they pick up on it, and it happens. A new system implemented and people not taught how to use it properly, and these errors occur. But they made it a scene, and to this day, there has been no real settling of that. But my opinion, I'll give the Moody and Standard & Poor's would have given this country a good credit rating coming out of COVID-19 and a recession. The IMF would have given us a growth report also and projected growth and all that. So in my opinion, I think it was a political thing done, because if you can't show that the government, the country made revenue, then of course the IMF will say, but hey, well, they do nothing for the period, so what went on? That's just my opinion, because I think, again, my opinion, that they wanted this government to go to the IMF. And the government has never gone. Mia Mottley, who we all love, has gone to the IMF on 2 occasions in Barbados. First time, I think about 3,000 public officers lost their job and all that. But Dr. Rowley gets no accolades or anything. Not that I think he wants it, he just does his job. Then we had in July the Ministry of Public Utilities updating reservoirs. They were talking about the harsh weather conditions. They started to dig for different wells and stuff. And we see the end result of that. Water, people are getting water where they never used to get water before. Pipelines are being laid. Wells are filling. We hear just recently, Horace Reservoir, I think, is full to capacity, and different areas will be able to get a more steady supply of water. And that. So the Minister of Public Utilities has been doing it and doing his job well. But again, if people who get in water never get it before, don't make videos and stuff and show we getting water. In fact, they did that, when Kamala was during the local government election, she was saying which part in her water and people in water for years and blah, blah, blah. People come out and make video and say, we don't know what you're talking about. Look, water flowing and we pipe and all that kind of thing. So some people did come out and discount what that woman said. Oh, and she did mention, when I was reading about the SOE, she spoke about the amount of blood on the soil. That wasn't she the one who said that if she failed, blood will flow in the streets of this country? Okay. August 2024, we had Jerome Richards, who made us proud during the France Olympics, winning medals first again, which was an exciting time. The other runners didn't do as well, but he would have shined first and continue to. Then we had the publication in 2024, September, we had the budget publications. We also had tax amnesty 24, and they would have told people who would have been exempted or whatever from paying taxes and all that. Then we had Mulan on the AMBD court matter, which we are still waiting on. This was November now. And a lot of things I would have missed out, but people can't talk everything, right? So if I remember anything, just later. And we're still waiting to know whether or not Mulan would have filed his defense here and the contractors in the AMBD matter, where the Privy Council said that is, I think it's 7 years they have delayed laying the evidence and that they have to do it. We haven't heard anything. It was the 6th, I think, November. Then you get extension, and we have heard nothing. Everything is silent on that. And people remember this is a civil suit brought by the government on behalf of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. If only let them people come back into office, because it's not a criminal matter, it's a civil suit, they will make it go away. So, all you know what time it is. And December this year end off on some tragedy where there was a fire at Farfan Street in Arima, and Member of Parliament for Omera Dabadi, the late Mrs. Lisa Morris Julian and her two children would have perished in a fire at the home. Her husband was injured, and two other of her children would have escaped. That truly whole pleased the whole country, in my opinion, into a tailspin. And we had um, Philip Alexander, who he wants to play his ghetto. He wants to play his a ghetto, would have ridiculed Mrs. Camille Robinson Regis for the way she would have generally cried for one of her, not only her colleagues, but a friend, a good friend, especially one who was with her just the day before at a function they had in Mrs. Camille Robinson Regis' constituency. And the little son was there. And I'm sure getting that news would have been, because when I got it early by somebody who was actually there on the scene. I was now about to say my prayer, and when I see the person call, I was like, that person don't call me this hour or whatever. And when he told me, I was like confused as hell, and that threw me off, and it was a horrible, horrible week. And it still is, but I guess to us who are not like close families, it is easing, but the close families have to deal with it because Christmas past, she's not there. New Year, she's not going to be there, and so many plans they had and all that. Because it wasn't like it was a planned thing that happened to her, it was unexpected and tragic. So we had again that piece of trash and filth. Because anything that aligns itself with Kamala Prasad says is trash. It's trash to me. They're not interested in this country, really. They're interested in getting their hands on the treasury. That's my opinion. So we had that happening there. So those just are some things that I remembered for 2024. And I'm going to go through stuff now, especially from the energy ministry, that would have put some bright spot in this year that was filled with a lot of gun violence, and the economy was picking up, especially in the energy sector where all those gas contracts were signed, and we actually seeing things happening. We also see Phoenix Park, that's Minister of Trade and Industry, Senator Paula Gopi School, doing a lot of work in that ministry. Just recently, a company would have invested, a company that has different branches all over the world, they invested, Clarinet invested in this country, and a lot of jobs will be gotten from that. So she's doing a lot of work out there, bringing in investors, getting investors. I told you about Senator Ubika, who is out there in Africa, linking up business for this country, especially with the asphalt products that to go out to Africa there. They'll be setting up an office. And so many other things that has been happening that even economists are saying that the energy sector have kind of picked up. The business sector, the manufacturing sector has picked up and would have been creating forex for this country as the energy sector is now trying to boost. So we have that happening, and we are thankful for that. All is not lost. So let me just play for you some. Oh, and coming out of Ministry of Education, we had some stuff happening there also. We had the homework, I think it's homework centers, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, one important thing, the school social workers are back on. I think that from the primary school, pick up on that and be able to recommend what type of activity or programs or what is needed to treat that. So they back on, and so they will be helping a lot. I know that some of them were given contracts recently, so they back on. So we intend to see the bullying in school and stuff like that children who have issues and all that they will be able to pick it up and plan programs to treat with that. So that is what have happened also as well. That is the ministry for young people. Any program you could think about, it is there for the young people to access. Who are not accessing it, in some of the program, because all of them is not academics, it's a thing like learning to mix music, singers, crane drivers, the works, plumbers, well, plumb fitting, or pipe twisting and doing them. Where for 1 year you trained at UTT in the theoretical part of farming, 1 year practical on the land, and when you successfully completed it, land was given 150 of them were given 2 acres of land, I think it is, and also starter homes and $20,000 to start up the businesses. We had the shade program where we see the minister was down there picking cucumbers and stuff. We have so much other young people involved, so it's not necessarily digging the earth. So that is up and booming and coming, and they are selling their produce now. They go to that deco market and they sell their produce. So that is happening, and we'll see it going, I'm sure, getting even bigger and better, so we could reach a place where we could feed ourselves. Also, who ministry I in touch on again? Well, we know with local government what would have happened after the 2023 elections, that has to be put into full swing now, where the corporations would be collecting their own taxes, or we see that happening already. Property taxes on, people are paying their property tax, and those monies are to go into the corporation and used for the businesses to fix the corporation. I think we saw 2 new borough, if I'm not mistaken, Diego Martin is now a borough, and some other place, but Diego Martin is a borough now. So we see that happening also. So a lot of good things has been happening in all different ministries. What ministry I miss? Well, the standout one will be education, will be Ministry of Youth Development, National Services, Trade and Industry. Tourism have its thing happening also. Well, yeah, tourism. We see that the steel pan was made the national instrument of Trinidad and Tobago. That came out of the Minister of Tourism, Minister Randall Mitchell, who would have gone before the UN and would have told them about the economic viability of the steel pan, the tradition behind it, the culture behind it, the ancestry behind it, and all that. And we also have the president of Pan Trinbago, Miss Beverly Ramsey Moore, being re-elected. Not only that, she would have been up there also in the UN, would have been speaking on behalf of the steel pan. The UN would have made the 11th of August World Steel Pan Day, and it has continued. And right after, we made the steel pan by passing legislation in Parliament to make it our national instrument. Big up also to Ms. Beverly Ramsey Moore, who would have, with her executive, taken the bold move to swap land, the land that they had up in Tagariga as an eyesore, Twin City, this skeleton, dirty looking thing just there that is supposed to be Pan Trinbago headquarters. Nothing ever happened. She would have, whatever, they would have swapped land to the old, I think it's the post office building, I think on Ryson Road, where it's going to be renovated or redone into a state-of-the-art pan headquarters, where they not only have pan theaters, museum, but other businesses can go there to generate money. So we have that in the heart of Port of Spain. So those are good things, people, and I'm just calling things from the top of my head because I ain't get a chance to write on everything. So help me if I'm forgetting anything. So we had that in tourism. And congratulations to Joshua Rigello, who would have entered into the Guinness World Book of Records, or however you say it, playing the steel pan, which is the only musical instrument invented in the 21st century in Trinidad and Tobago. And for 30 hours, he would have played the steel pan with he took half an hour, I think, break in all, because I think it's like 5 minutes in every hour. So I think what he would have done, if I'm not mistaken, just take one time one break in the sense of that, to get something quickly to eat, use the washroom and that kind of thing. But 30 hours straight. In fact, he made 31 or 32 hours. So congratulations there on the steel pan. I see some haters talking about the tassa. The tassa does play rhythm. The tassa don't play the tassa don't play music. The tassa does play rhythm. The steel pan does play music. You could sing to that. It have words to, because there are notes on the pan, music notes, that you can create a song, or you can play this, or you could watch a scale of a song, musical scale, and play that same thing on a pan. You can't do that with the tassa. So nobody ain't going to sit down for no 30 hours. With all due respect, I love the tassa, to listen to no tassa playing for 30 hours, right? It ain't going to happen. You'll definitely get a headache. I'm not being disrespectful, I'm being real. Them cymbals and cling, cling, you go get a headache. 30 hours, no. So that was happening there. And then, of course, the standout ministry to me, not because that is my member of parliament, but because he has made the energy sector sound really exciting. I wasn't all up in no energy. I just know that is where the money coming, and that is that. But because of the minister and the work he has been doing, and he had doing, along with the prime minister, who would have been leading the charge, going to all those oil companies and renegotiating oil deals, that Kamla Prasad says, and they would have left like that and just left these oil companies to get whatever money they want and take what they want and give you what they want whenever they want and all that. In coming into office, Dr. Rowley and Minister Stewart would have flown to these areas, those boardrooms, and would have negotiated back our contracts, and we are getting our monies from that. Not only that, I think corporate tax, Kamla had it at about 17 or 18%, Dr. Rowley have it at 30 or 35%. So these companies got to pay. We ain't making joke with that. Also, totally agree with something. Right. Again, it's just some pointers from what happened during the year. Plenty other things happen, of course. This year was the commissioner inquiry into the Paria, the tragic death of those scuba divers. I will continue to say this is my opinion. Though they were scuba divers, they didn't have the equipment that was needed. That if you get into that P1 or whatever situation you call it, commercial divers trained to know how to get out that and have all the equipment to deal with that. Those guys, unfortunately, had on scuba diving. I think the one for commercial diver had the umbilical cord and things, so you could tug on it, or it have a man on top. So when you tug it, so if you're in difficulties, they go tug, they go know to pull up, or whatever the case may be. So those guys died. It was a horrific time for families again, and for us waiting for it was a recovery, and a whole mess came out of that. And as commission inquiry was requested, Prakash Ramada get on like a real clown and eat up himself, or whatever. Coming out of that, of course, Paria and LMCS, which is the employer of the divers, are facing some legal issue. Who would have hired the employer LMCS and given that person the contract, or the board, the board of LMCS, if they have a board, the contract? The workers who work at LMCS, that is the responsibility of the owner of LMCS, not the responsibility of Paria. So if they weren't equipped properly, or that company didn't have an insurance for own workers, that is not Paria's fault. Paria will come into where, in my opinion, as a labor person speaking, whether or not the health and safety standards and guidelines and processes and that was functional at all, whether it was appropriate, whether they would have kicked into it too soon or not too soon, whatever the case may be. So I can understand that from a health and safety issue. But when it comes to the responsibility of the divers, in my opinion, that is the sole responsibility of the person who hired them, because them wasn't working for Paria. Them was working for the man, Kazim Ali Senior, I think is the name. That who them was working for. Yes, he was paying them as far as I understand. So he is responsible for them. But this thing became a whole political thing because I think they were saying some man on the board in Paris, Dr. Rowley's friend. So Dr. Rowley had no friend, I think. And we also had a tragic incident just recently, about 2 weeks ago, if not mistaken, of I think it's Pete Williams is the gentleman name, on Wells platform. It collapsed and there were 75 workers on it. 74 were evacuated, one ended up in hospital, and they haven't found Mr. Williams' body as far as I know. So it has turned from a rescue now into recovery. And he has a pregnant wife and children who are asking for him. So that too is another heart-rending situation. But when I looked at the processes used by the company and all involved, I think they were very proactive. This is me on the outside looking in, very, very proactive. We are updated. They were doing things as I think that ought to be done. So that would have happened also. So again, let me go to some things that happen within the energy sector, things for us to hold on to and to understand what we have to lose if we let Kamla Prasad Bissessa and people like Philip Alexander get into office in this country. And don't be fooled, eh? You see all of them who hold in the corner now, Gary Griffith, they want to part, and Hope they want to part, and this one they want to part, and this one want to part. And COP don't want to part, and the dissidents don't want to part. Let me tell you something. This is my opinion. When the election bill is wrong, all of them coming together. Because they know by themselves they can't do nothing. All of them going to find some excuse to come to sell to the public. Why they come back? They mightn't call it partnership. They might call it accommodation. I don't know. Necessity. I don't know. But all of them coming together. Don't let them fool all day. But oh my gosh, they holding a high stand. No. They want to go right inside there. And you know I can tell you that too. Look how Prakash Ramadan insert himself back in the COP. It wasn't there all the time. It had an interim leader all the time, could Senate since I think 2020. You just say election thing and whatever, and they're going to link up whatever. You put back yourself and you become the leader, the COP again. When they'll ever see it to be out there. Talking about transparency, now we hearing like it wasn't the right way it was done and all that. So that tells you something. If you could fly back in your party, not the right way, and take over just so. It tells you when it comes to power, how all of that stink is all about power. So all they don't get confused with Hope by themselves and they linking with Gary and they're holding a high standard and Gary's talking nice now and quiet now. And don't get tired of that, you know. When the election bell is ring, all of them go find out way to sanitize themselves and hold their nose and go and be around Philip Alexander and Kamla Prasad Bissessa. Don't get tired. So all you know what time it is. So these are some things that would have happened in 2024 out of the Energy Ministry. This was May the 16th. I just put out some stuff. I hope it can play.
Energy is the biggest driver of Trinidad and Tobago's economy. We are economy based on oil and gas. Do you know what that means literally? The hospitals, we know we have free healthcare in Trinidad and Tobago. Is energy paying for that? Schools, our children going off to school this morning and it's free education, energy paying for that. Our teachers, our policemen, our army, our prison service, all of that, all of the public service. The government is the largest employer of persons in the whole economy. It is our energy revenue paying for that. So those are the direct effects of energy. When you go to the gas pump and we put gas into our car, there is still a subsidy on the price of fuel. Water, our water services are subsidized. It's over $1 billion, that's $2 billion a year. That's energy paying for that. And the last one I'll throw at you is electricity. We have some of the lowest electricity rates in the world. Again, that is directly related to our energy. So that is how our direct lives are affected on a daily basis. It is the money from energy.
Right?
So you have it.
So that was the minister there explaining how energy and the energy sector affects our life. That was in May. Let me see what he's saying. This was June the 22nd.
I think if you really understand what we've done from independence to now, and the role that the People's National Movement has played in the development of Trinidad and Tobago, you would understand the exceptionally bright future we in Trinidad and Tobago have ahead of us under the PNM. Our history will show that all of the great steps, leaps, and bounds forward have all been under the PNM. I am proud of the role that this party has played, the leadership role in CARICOM from inception to now, the role that this PNM has played in the global energy sector, with the vision that our forefathers had in the 1970s, creating the Point Lisas estate and moving us to a gas-based industry. That was ahead of our time, and that was a global move, again, done by the PNM. What you've seen us do in the last few years, maneuvering under a great leader, Dr. Rowley, to now have a future with cross-border gas, a future as a continued leader in the region, working with our CARICOM sister countries. It is only a PNM government and the leadership of the People's National Movement that can achieve these great things. We're not the populist type. PNM will govern properly, taking the hard decisions, but always ensuring that we're building a better Trinidad and Tobago, no matter how difficult it is. And that is the beauty and the strength of the PNM. So join us. Be part of the movement, a movement that's existed now for over 6 decades, with a constitution and structure. Be part of the PNM. Great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. We shall prevail.
So that's the minister there telling us the significance of the People's National Movement, whether you want to admit it or not. Every infrastructure in this country was built by the People's National Movement. They know that. The education system that Kamla Prasad, Sessan and those across the Caribbean Bridge would have enjoyed, taking them out from the cane field, taking them out from the garden. Nothing wrong with gardening and farming, that is good. But little children, the girl children, their job in the garden, and then after that, by 9, 10, 11 years old, married a big man, because you remember this government went to parliament to stop little girls from being married to big hardback man, because there's records in the registry, marriage registry, that Mrs. Camille Robinson Reggie said that she saw that 14-year-old and 13, 11-year-old girl getting married to all 40-something-year-old man, so it's a big old man. And this government went to the parliament to stop that. And Kamla Prasad Sessa sent some scholars to tell we in the parliament, once a girl starts a CC period, so if she starts at 8 years old, she's ready to take man. That's basically what he's saying. I paint it my way. 8, once they start to see the period, they're ready for man. So imagine a little girl, some kind of situation where time by 7 years old starts a CC period. As far as I'm concerned, she's ready for man. Yeah, and they fight to keep that on the books. The PNM, not strike out that. Now they have an age that they could get married in this country. So the point I was making, everything that they enjoy is the PNM. So Kamla Prasad and the little Indian girls could afford to go to school, could afford to be little children instead of being children bride. Yeah? The PNM. They know that. I see Mr. Israel Khan, SC, would have several kind of nasty thing about Dr. Christopher Rowley, called them house slave. And I want to ask Mr. Khan, SC, senior counsel, very brilliant man. When he came back to Trinidad from Canada to study, whose law firm he went in to learn? Because if you're saying Dr. Rowley is a slave man, house slave, well, the man he went to train on, that was a house slave too, because his ancestors was house slaves. Dr. Annis Wills, I think it was one of the biggest criminal lawyers in this country, and all the criminal lawyers in this country, and all the barristers in this country is of African descent. So you went to train in a house slave law firm. That's how you become great. It's a house slave, a descendant of a house slave, excuse me, who teach you all that you know about criminal law. Yeah? So when you call Dr. Roddy a house slave, you call it all a we house slave. Because I basically, so I want to ask a question to all of Indian descent, those who just call us house slaves and house Negroes. I want to ask all you a question, a serious question I'm asking. Will it be okay for me to call all you Dalit? Will it be okay for me to call all you house Dalit? Or field Dalit? Or plantation Dalit? Or worse yet, will it be okay for me, I'm going to spell the word. Will it be okay for me to call all you a house, K-O-O-L-E-E, or a field, K-O-O-L-E-E, or a plantation, K-O-O-L-E-E? Will it be okay for me to do that? Because if you're calling me house slave all the time, you call Dr. Roddy house slave, what are you talking about? Because our ancestors were enslaved African. So if Dr. Roddy is black and looks like me and they call you a house slave, you're calling me that. If you tell Camille Robinson Regis that she has her slave master name, and we know what the slave masters used to call me, and we know why we end up with the slave master's name, then they're talking to me too because I have my slave master name. But you know, it's ironic. Solo Butlin works. Joseph Charles wasn't his name, you know. He take the slave master name to make a business. He was an Indian man, you know, Mahmoudin. He never changed back his name to Mahmoudin. He remained Joseph Charles, and the children and the grandchildren and the children, all them is Charles. Them wasn't Charles, but he couldn't do no business with the proud ancestral Indian name. So he went and take the slave master name. So what we must change we slave master name for? So again, I'll say, the People's National Movement has been here doing it. The UNC cannot show no video to show what they did to this country other than a SOE where they lock up 9,000 African youths. Right? And them same youths come back and sue the state. The PNM government now when they come in and sue the state for real money. And the Attorney General who make the police lock up all of them without a charge, he come back and be the lawyer and fight against the same state for the law he make to lock them up without without any charge. That's what they do. Or what about the Cuba Children's Hospital, where the land shifting and all kind of bacchanal. But it wasn't to be built there because it built on some kind of shifting belt or some kind of thing. That we have to talk about. What policies the UNC ever make in this country to help and develop this country? What policies? The PNM put in policy in place, national insurance, when Anna Robinson, understand, was kicking up against it and telling nobody don't buy it. Plenty people living off NIS right now, they get pension because they work, they contribute to it, and they get them back now. People who ain't work and make all the contribution just get a lump sum. The same NIS, all the disability grant, all the things that you just get, the education policy, social welfare policy, everything is the People's National Movement. The NIR ain't do it, UNC certainly ain't do it. In the 2 and the 99 reincarnations, they never did it. So let me go again. So this was August the 10th. I just show you, look what all you have to lose, you know. It's up to all you. So this one was, let me see, August. Give me a minute. August the 20th. Just let me see what this is about. No, I don't do that one already. October the 2nd. This is when all the vessels actually came on our.
So what we've done here today is a tour of the PXGO, state-of-the-art seismic vessel that came into Trinidad's waters in May of this year. What you're seeing here today is the culmination of a lot of hard work and the completion in a short while of 3 different projects. The first project that the PXGO did was the 3D seismic work over 3 deep water blocks awarded to Shell and BP. As soon as that was finished. It was then contracted to do coquina mannequin. They've completed the mannequin side in Trinidad's waters as well as the Venezuelan side, coquina. Immediately after that, we had Shell move mountains to get this vessel, and it is about to depart in the next couple of days to go and do seismic over a shallow water block that we've negotiated with Shell in record time. It's important that we, the citizens, understand what this means for us. You've heard people saying, why aren't we going after the resources in our own waters, our own domestic hydrocarbon resources, our own domestic gas? That is exactly what has been accomplished here. 3 deep water blocks completed record time. You know what this means for us in Trinidad and Tobago? This is the future. Once again, we've moved mountains, we've shortened the time. Shell, its commitment, BP's commitment, providing future gas here in our domestic waters. This is the government working for you.
All right.
And what we've done here.
As for Tobago, the autonomy bill, amendment bill, was carried to be debated on because it's years of consultation or whatever, and a couple of minutes before they're going to start on it, dirty, stinking Farley. I call them the dirty and stink. Them don't have no interest in the people at heart. Them is about money. When he come into the theater, he did hang up. He did tintily bending. You could have seen his belly going straight to the back. Now he fat. Living nice. Have escort. Police escort, this, that. Eating nice, traveling the world. So it was about that. A couple of minutes, seconds or something, so before the start we did, he sent by a WhatsApp message some recommendation or amendment why the bill shouldn't this and whatever it is, and that was the end of that day. Because you're not serious. And Tobago people, I don't know if they're in a stupor, if they're in a slumber, I don't know what it is. I don't live there, I don't know. But you better get it together. Because Farley will make Tobago come bankrupt like how it was when it became a ward at Trinidad. All the talk they want to talk about Tobago on its own, as it is now, cannot. They could say what I want. It's not that I don't want them to have greater autonomy, of course. The way how things going with Farley, or they can't do it on their own. And let's talk about, the waters that have whatever gas and all that. Okay. So all the years when Trinidad was digging and whatever gas and oil on when I say we land on Trinidad part of it, it wasn't a big thing and all they was getting money from that all the time, so they go pay me back. They wasn't always doing in water thing and whatever. All the time was on land. It was the land in Trinidad land. Trinidad and Tobago land, but Trinidad Island, I would doing it. It wasn't in no waters all the time at Tobago, so this talk about how they have the oil there and all they think is just to start to dig for them thing. You could just click your fingers and click your heels together. So this again was, let me play another one again. All this happening in the energy sector. As I said before, we never used to listen to nothing in the energy sector because all we know, they dig for it, like how Kamala come with that thing. You remember Kamala come with a bottle of dirty water and go to find oil, to find. I will tell you, listen, let's forget these things where these people like this woman could come to talk to we. Eh? Well, forget them thing about. People supposed to run Kamala for service when they see she boy. For the kind of things. I'm serious, I ain't saying nothing violent to people. For the kind of things Kamala for service do. But all let us just leave it. Well. This is the 90s.
And here we are today, less than 1 year since we signed that license in Caracas, Venezuela for the Dragon field. It was on the 21st of December 2023. We signed that license, a 30-year license to produce, export the gas from the Dragon gas field to Trinidad and Tobago. We've just today toured the vessel that is now setting off to do the survey of that field and where we will build this 18-kilometer pipeline. People may ask, how does this benefit benefit me? And that is a good question. How does this benefit every citizen of Trinidad and Tobago? Our money in Trinidad and Tobago to pay for our children to go to school, to pay for the hospital system, to pay for transport, to pay for our lights, to pay for our water. This money from this dragon gas field, from our energy sector, is what pays for everything for us. This is yet another record. This is something that people thought would not happen. It was years of perseverance. It was years of attacks by our opposition. But we got it done. First, we got the OFAC license. Then we got that 30-year license less than 1 year ago, December last year. Here we are today, historically, seeing off the vessel that will start the initial surveys to position the pipeline along the seabed from Dragon to Hibiscus, bringing that gas to Trinidad and Tobago. I am proud that I was given this responsibility, and we have delivered. This is your government. This is me working for you, Trinidad and Tobago.
Tonight that Dr. Rowley's a joke internationally, a laughing stock. Kamala Basabi says, Dr. Rowley is respected all over the world. You know what Joe Biden say, President Joe Biden say what? Kamala Basabi says, so you can't go nowhere and stand up and talk nothing. You know, nothing is a dunce. You have to get your own self still. You never win no case in this country, nothing. You was a failure as a minister of education. You was a failure as an attorney general. You was a failure as opposition leader. And you was a failure as a prime minister. And you're back again, opposition leader. It's a failure. Nobody wants to talk. Do you think you could call any international people and have to talk to them first name and think they may know you? Let's say before you go and meet them in your nightie and slippers are here, it is alleged as your normal thing. Nobody know you. Dr. Roll is a scientist, he know about oil and gas. So when they're talking with him, them know he know what he's talking about. Anybody know what you do what talk about? Angostura? Grey Goose? Pink Palace? Zami? I don't know, ask him. So that was October 19, and this will happen in November. Again, the oil, the energy sector.
So here we are today, culmination of yet another project. Proud today of Tufco, our local fabricator that is world class. We're here for the preload out of the Mento platform. So if you look at this project, it's 99.9% local. It's all local. So we've done two things: created an opportunity for local talent, and we've also been able to keep a sustainable operation, which is key.
So the local talent in Trinidad is honestly world class. Now, I have worked for BP for over 40 years. I've worked all over the world, so I've seen some very experienced areas. But the people here are of absolutely an equal quality to the best I've seen anywhere else. So I think it all can be done here.
These are the things we've been working on. These are the things we've been working on since 2016. Seeing it all come together, this will boost our production. This has provided over 400 jobs for the local community here in Labrie. And that was the government working, negotiating, asking the people at BP and EOG globally to support Trinidad local content, support Tufco. So here we've done it once again. This is your government working for you, Trinidad and Tobago, making it happen. Yet another successfully delivered project.
Right. This is not the happiness. This is not the happiness campaign, you know. Happiness, you know. Where she put you up and talk about happiness and all kind of damn choppiness and have a papers called The Voice and all that people used to take to clean the glass and all kind of damn thing and wipe the foot if you mash something, you wipe off your foot on it. It was die night, you know. This is real thing. Kamala is a dunce. You could talk about Dr. Roll. Look at something and say, I want to let her know. Where for her go and play the fool? Kamala and them been able to continue this, you know. They may have Kevin Ramrad is a dunce. That's my opinion, is a dunce. They may have nobody had the technical skill to continue to carry on these projects. It's in
So
November.
once again, what we've seen here from the Ministry of Energy and Energy Industries working on your behalf is a record turnaround. We in Trinidad and Tobago went out with a shallow water bid round. What you've seen here today is the culmination of that hard work. I'd like to congratulate especially the permanent secretaries and the members of staff here at the ministry who turned around the negotiations with BPTT, one of the largest oil and gas companies in the world. Today we've awarded the production sharing contract after some hard negotiations to BP on behalf of Trinidad and Tobago. The energy sector secures our future. The energy sector is what provides the revenue for us to be able to make sure that our hospitals have doctors, nurses, the drugs that we need, the earning of foreign exchange. This is where our foreign exchange comes from. So what we're doing here, what I'm proud to have delivered to you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, is a future of foreign exchange. This is what will fund our diversification programs. This is where the government is looking at, for example, tourism in Tobago, going out once a year, as you heard in the budget, for new hotels in Tobago. This is where we're going to push and earn the revenue from maritime industry. So don't buy into that this government isn't focused on diversification. We are very focused on both the preservation and the growth of our energy sector, whilst looking to push many, many projects for diversification. This is your government. This is your government working for you, Trinidad and Tobago.
The wing, the Port of Spain General Wing. You ever see that thing? That nearly finished. Sandy Grande Hospital finished. Arima Hospital finished. Point Fortin Hospital finished. Where Cameron then finished? The money from the treasury, because I'm waiting him. This is we name Macandal Daga said the thief money from the treasury as if they have a right to thief. Eh? This is what is happening, this government is doing.
So what we've witnessed here today is another phenomenal feat. What we've witnessed here today is the signing of the ENP Exploration and Production License between the government, the Ministry of Energy, Energy Industries, our national gas company, NGC, as well as Touchstone under their company, Primera Oil. We have signed the ENP license for the Rio Claro block. On this block, what we're expecting, and Touchstone has great prospects for both oil and gas with associated liquids. A lot of people keep saying that it's all about cross-border gas and that's where we put all our eggs. That's not true. Today is a perfect example of us. This is our onshore domestic production. You've seen us go out in deep water, you've seen us go out on awards in the shallow water. Touchstone has got an ENP license for this onshore block. It will come into the existing facilities and we can expect an increase in production in both our gas as well as our liquid oil. As I've said before, how does this affect us in Trinidad and Tobago as citizens? This is what's going to pay for the schools. This is what's going to pay for street lights. This is what's going to pay for the fuel at the pumps. This is what's going to pay for children to go to school. These are the things that make the difference. Oil and gas is what's bringing in the revenue for us in Trinidad and Tobago. So this is us. This is your government. Once again, proving track record, getting it done for you, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. This is your government working for you.
Tomorrow morning.
Right? What has Kamala Persad ever done? She came out with an idea. Skin your leg, get pregnant, take 9 months, morning sickness, your hair falling out, because some people don't have bad morning sickness. Your teeth get shaky, your skin get all kind of blemish, you get button, you only spitting. Some just have it cool, some don't have it cool. I know me, I was spitting forever and ever and ever, and everything smelled bad. No matter how you wash it, clean it, it was horrible. So go through all of that, and at the end of that, you're going to make the child, you get stitches, you might have to do cesarean, all that, and get $500. That is the incentive to make a child. When wasn't that? Go up in Hilton and carry up the army like was ISOE and all kind of thing and had them inside there, hands up, hands down, put your hand on the lip, hands up, and color me orange and $69. That is them government working for your happiness. This is how our government works for you. So all you know what at stake, or you can go ahead and let slip through all your hand and then ball I shoulda, coulda, woulda. It's important to play these things, you know, because it let all you know that these people who trying to get back into office, they're not ready, they're not capable. Because they had all these things they could have done, they did nothing. They leave it alone because they didn't know how. The only deal I hear Kevin Ramarine do, it cost this country billions of dollars. Because he's a dunce. This one is the 6th of December, just recently.
What we've just done here today is a tour of yet another piece of the puzzle. What we're seeing here today is the transpooling, meaning the pipeline transfer, just over 30 kilometers of pipeline that have come all the way from the United Kingdom to Trinidad and Tobago. And this is all for the SIP project. What is amazing about today is we're seeing the trickle-down effects of how this affects lives in Trinidad and Tobago. Of the crew on board this vessel here, 15% are local. Shark terms, the people who supply the vessel with food, fuel, and these types of things are locals. One of the persons handling the ROVs on this vessel is actually from Mariah in Tobago. We've also just had a great experience of meeting 3 maritime recruits from the UTT Maritime Program, 3 cadets from their program who are on board this vessel from start to finish. They are getting the experience. Someone on board the vessel, another local, was proud to come and whisper to me that just yesterday they got the results of some of the surveys that are taking place on the wells at Dragon Field in Venezuela. So this Trinidad and Tobago, this is what is happening in the energy sector. This is the reality of what we've spent the last few years out there negotiating on your behalf and earning the revenue for Trinidad and Tobago and many different people in Trinidad and Tobago. This is your government working for you, Trinidad and Tobago, as we continue meeting with success after years of hard work on your behalf.
All right, Kamala and them can't do no hard work.
People
could drink hard. Based on what we hear and drink hard and party, actually talking about Dr. Rowley playing golf on $50,000 entertainment and a month, $50 million entertainment bill. The Minister of Finance explained that is not how it goes. But you see, them had to project because when this government came in, hundreds of thousands of dollars of alcohol was in the diplomatic center. That was not to drink, eat. Greedy, daddy greedy, licorice, not greedy, not licorice. So she said, Dr. Rowley, lazy and greedy, she licorice, and she's slow and dunce. I have no empathy for Kamala Pasabi Sessa, not the thing she does be doing. She deserves no empathy. This one is December the 10th. I want all to see what happened, I don't know.
Another historic day, another day I'm particularly proud of, is today we've actually begun the fabrication work for Manatee. Manatee was a project, a concept that the Prime Minister came up with in 2018, gave me the responsibility to deliver. We managed to deliver it.
The status and growth of the energy industry in Trinidad is at quite an important moment. Manatee will be very important for the continued growth, bringing on between 600 and 700 million static cubic feet a day into the energy system, which will really underpin it for many years to come.
What you've seen here is an ability to go out there, to maneuver, to negotiate, to get Shell committed to it, to get the Venezuelan government to agree to deunitize Manatee from Loran, and to be here today, and to see, most importantly, the hundreds of workers getting direct job opportunities at Topco's yard, and to know that that was our policy coming together.
It's a good opportunity to have plenty room to learn a lot about platforms, jackets, files, fabricating, painting, rigging. It have a wide variety of crafts in here. So creating a lot of employment, and as I say, it trickles down because when you come and you get employed there, you get a salary, you spend it throughout the community, in the parlors, the groceries, and it will impact the whole community.
I am proud. I'm proud today that we've kicked off the fabrication for the manatee jacket, largest ever to be done in Trinidad and Tobago. This is your government. This is your government not only working for you, but this is me delivering to you, for you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
All right.
Movements will be.
So some people ain't gonna want to see them thing. They want to hear the culture and the bacchanal. Because once you come on the live to see culture and bacchanal, wherever it is. This is a serious time because we're going to a new year and people need to understand 2025 is not no joke for several reasons. This year was a horrible, horrible year for crime. And the government has decided, based on whatever intelligence, that they're going to have a state of emergency. It's nothing new. This is not the first state of emergency we've had. We had it for COVID-19. We had it under Kamla Persad-Bissessar. We had it during the Black Power movement, and we had it during the coup. So it's nothing new. What is different with this? It is not all citizens, law-abiding citizens, who are affected that there is no curfew times. But who are being targeted is those who are not law-abiding. And the enforcement and law agency, they would know who are not. Me ain't gonna know. Them will know because it's people they would probably interact in who they hold and who in court or whatever the case may be. But let's get towards that. It has started today, and I'm sure it wasn't they get up this morning and decided doing it. I'm sure it has been planning, putting things in place so that when they bring it today, things are implemented and that kind of thing. So let us wait and see what happens with it. You can't start to talk about it yet because nothing is the first day. Let us adjust it and see what's happening. Just like the senior citizen old age pension, the government would have understood for whatever reason when they were spoken about savings, $25,000 cap. The citizens spoke, very distressed and worried and frightened. They came and said that has been withdrawn. So there's nothing to do with no savings again. So you could have 100,000 in your saving, you could have $1 million in your saving, wherever your savings you're saving as a person at 65 trying to get old age pension who never work anywhere. What they will be looking at is your income. So you cannot be having a monthly income of over XYZ and still want to get the pension. But still, people continue to say, the government take away the old age pension. No, they did not. And the old age pension, them didn't pay and put no money in it, like the government pension that public officers just get when they attain the age of 60 because they have been paying towards the plan. And I'll keep again putting a plug for the elected officers. If the union had done the right thing years ago, they would have been retiring and getting a pension at 60 instead of waiting until they're 65 years old and going through the same kind of thing like how people who never worked before are looking for old age pension. That has happened with delegated officers. I know plenty of them. My father and all was a delegated officer. My both uncles were delegated officers. They were tradesmen. My father was a carpenter, my two uncles were masons. And I know plenty of people who are delegated officers, so they close to my heart when I think about it because I see them, I know them, and I see their cries. Yeah? I work with plenty of delegated officers. All that has got at 60 is NIS, the $3,000. And that wait 5 years later to get old age pension. Apply for it like they never work in this country. That is unfair. Those are the things they're supposed to look at as union leaders, but now they want to join with Kamla to come to tell we Kamla should be the one to run this country. She could be 10%. 10% and we what? 10% and we weigh. Yeah? 10% and we weigh. Or let's stop taking fool and chain up now. Roger, all of them want to be politicians. Them don't care about no members. Leroy Baptiste, that red dirty piece of the mother corn ox. Them don't care. It's about them and them interests. We just by the way. So anyhow, as I was saying, I was just bringing back to you all things that I remember that happened in 2024. And I would have paid particular interest in the Ministry of Energy. But that is not the only ministry that has been having successes and doing things. I spoke about Ministry of Youth Development, National Services. First time in history, we have a ministry dedicated to youth. Before it used to be a department and it used to be sports. Now it's a whole youth ministry dedicated to young persons, I think from 15 to 35, if I'm not mistaken, and programs upon programs are being there. Minister Foster Cummins is there doing his part. We have Dr. Diane Garsby doing her thing in education. We have in finance, we have Marvin Gonzalez in public utilities, and it just goes on and on. We have Paula Gopi School, Mrs. Paula Gopi School out in trade and industry. We have Mrs. Camille Robinson Regis. And let me not forget her. They were getting on with how they're trying to get the money from delinquent people who are paying the rent. But that was the same people go to around and say, but how AGC is fixing people's house and have people living there and paying the rent while they're doing something? The ministry to around was getting money from the delinquent payers and getting evicted for years and years, not paying and haven't gone into anything. They have a problem with that. Now we have that ministry, they're doing starter homes. People are getting starter homes now. People who are living in some obviously houses they're living in. No fault of theirs when I suppose they get a piece of land, they build a little thing, knock it up, whatever. Now those people are getting starter homes now. Listen, the joy in their faces, have their own keys to open their own door. They have their bedroom, their living room, the thing, and you can always build as they go along. The government is doing that. Ministry under Mrs. Camille Robinson Regis. Those things are happening. We've seen those happening. We've seen houses building. We've seen homes given away. Not given away, but people getting homes. And these starter homes are a really good thing also. So all those things are happening. All departments, all ministries are doing their part, pulling their weight. So when 2025 come, which is one day away or something, all of them do the right thing and get caught up with the rhetoric. And before I go, Furniture Plus, Port of Spain, the customer service is good, flawless, good. But I want to talk to the management of Furniture Plus. All the delivery service stinks. I thought it was me alone, but while I was there, a woman come in, she can't get your washing machine up to now. I can't get my furniture set up to now since the 20th. I went and do the business. Can't get it up to now. And I ain't sure to get it this week again. Furniture Plus, the management of Furniture Plus, not the workers there who doing the writing up and the customer service is good. We have nothing to do with the customer service. It was good. Friendly, helpful, everything. You see who does do delivery? Whatever department in charge of delivery, the girl today, the supervisor today trying to call that area to find out what's going on. She can't even get onto them. The phone just ringing there and answering, she said they must be closed. They don't work on Saturday, and like them, they just close. So whatever department, Furniture Plus, whoever owns Furniture Plus, you see the delivery department, it's not right. Because it's not me alone. There are other people complaining. That is not right. It's better to tell people when they come to do business at all, yeah, if they come and do the hire purchase business, the tent, they ain't getting it until a month after. So people go make up their mind whether they want to do business or don't want to do business. I do my business with standards, I don't get them problem. But standards didn't have the set I want, Furniture Plus had it, and I end up there. Wow, what does it? I don't get them problem with standards. 2 days time I get a delivery, or 3 days time I get the most. And when I call in, people doesn't answer. So again, the customer service at Furniture Plus is great. On point. You see the delivery department, wherever they're situated, who is the owner of Furniture Plus, do better than that. That's not right. It is not right. In fact, I want my furniture by Friday. If they don't give me my furniture by Friday to the management of the delivery part and who owns Furniture Plus, I want back my monthly installment. And I'm good. It's all right. Give me back my monthly installment because I don't pay my monthly installment already. I didn't have to pay it yet, but I said I had the money, let me go and pay it. Give me back my money. If I can't get my furniture Friday or Thursday or tomorrow, give me back my money. And I good. My living room like a dance hall, I give away my living room set. I'm not going to run my living room set, you know. It's just because of my allergies, the dust. I can't take on that dust and trying to, that material stress me out. So I decide. I give away my whole thing. My living room is a dance hall. All the time is the carpet, not the carpet, not Ting carpet, but you know, my Ting down, my plant, my this and that. But when I walk in there, everything echoing. I put on the TV, it sounded like I was in cinema. I have an ottoman, I sit on it, my back start to hurt me because it have no support system. So I am comfortable. Eh? So all I had to do, when I was onto my life, take my bath, everything, I go and lie down and watch my phone or watch TV. It had nothing to sit on. I play Santa Claus and I give way. But again, nothing to do with the customer service. The customer service was good. The delivery service, and a woman come there looking for she machine because she said she want the US to come and meet you with all she clothes dirty. She wants she machine to wash. So I know it's not a me problem. So whoever is the owner of Furniture Plus, all they do better than that when it comes to delivery. If all they taking too much delivery and too much people taking thing, and all they don't have enough drivers and van and truck, then here what's going on. Either hire more van and truck, so them fellas and them could walk and all in overwork them and have them going all over the place and they get more staff. So ease up the strain. Or here what? Stop taking so much higher purchase thing. Before they know they can deliver people thing. That's what I have to say. So let me see all who here. So Claire, Carol, Andel, Constant, Philo, Carol, Andre, Oswald, Heather, Nedra, Cheryl, Sandra, Roxanne, Jenny, Hollister, Jonathan, Herbert, Melka, Brian, Gerald, Kenneth, Philomen, Balti, Lorna, Patsy, Nadia, Jennifer, Sandra, Margaret, Clyde, Helen, Ross, Pleasant, Kathleen, Carol. I know every time I say that, she'll say, why should they calling me? Oh, name. Don't worry, I'll keep calling it. Maureen Thompson, oh God, my darling, I have to call you. I promise to call you, I get caught up doing all kind of thing. Joyda, my dear. Charles, my whole family from Pune, Emmeline, Kelvin. Kelvin, Happy New Year. You sick? You good? You're good, you know. You're a good belly, you know, Kevin. Kevin, what are you doing here? You know, you just come here and feel stressed out. You just start to say all kind of damn stupidness. You're still coming. You like bad treatment? Sarah, I want to tell everybody, I would see you all on Friday. What's there? I'm coming with something fresh, something new. This is your Jen, Sister Jenny, Auntie Jenny. If you want to get formal mission for Frederick, you all have a blessed Happy New Year. Wednesday is the start of a new year. Whatever you wish for yourself and your family, coming from me and my family, I want to wish the same for you: health, strength, wisdom, knowledge, understanding. Most important, family is most important. The furniture and thing I talk about, that ain't so important to me, you know, family and health and thing. But I still want my furniture. Yeah, so everybody, I love you all. Thank you all for the support that you all have given me this year. I think I started this last year. Early last year, I think I started this, you know, I started this journey. I think it's early last year, if not late 2022. Whatever it is, I thank you all for always staying tuned and locked in, especially this year. I've gathered a crew of people who are always there with me. And I want to thank you all so much. You all make it worthwhile for me. I don't do this thing for money. I do this thing for rank. I am not no social media influencer. I'm not none of them things. I just, whatever knowledge I have, especially labor, or I could bring some information to people. That's what I do, and I enjoy doing it. You all make me enjoy doing it. So that's what I do it for the love of it, and that people must hear another side also. They can't just hear one side. There must be a positive side. The PNM is not perfect, but I'm telling you, they're better 100% than the UNC, especially this UNC. on PNM's worst day, they're still better than UNC. And that is a fact, and people know that. You don't have to like them, but sit back and think about it. What has UNC done for this country? Instead, racism has been heightened. That is a fact, especially in 2020. Kamala Persad did nothing. Um, Crime, they say when the PNM come into office, crime does increase. No, no, no. When UNC leave office, crime does increase. So then you have to ask yourself, based on the things that Philip say and this one say and that one say, what does be happening with UNC and crime when they're in office? So that when they're not here, that it does increase. Or never ask yourself that instead of thinking that is when the PNM come into office. When the PNM come into office and the UNC leave the office, that is when the whole bacchanal does start. So people again, we in a SOE, it is not a curfew. The SOE treats and deals with those who are breaking the law, and the law enforcement people will know who those persons are. We wouldn't know, we're not police, we don't know. The army is also out there with the same powers, I think, as the police, and they have all rights. Your constitution, your 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 freedoms and rights that you enjoy under the Constitution has been suspended. Yeah? So if you're a criminal element, the police could stop you, search you, they could not break in your house, but they could come into your home without a search warrant and whatever. You have no rights. They are suspended. And that is who they're targeting, because this crime has already gotten out of hand, and people I've spoken to today, they're very happy about this. They're really happy about it. I've spoken to people of Indian descent. As I said, I didn't meet no Chinese or no Syrian, but you heard Doma spoke. They happy about it. You heard Tribe, the owner Tribe. His surname suggests he's of Indian descent. He's happy and he's willing to work with the government and law enforcement to make sure we have a safe carnival. So people, that's where we are. Hi, Francesca. Yeah, so that's where we are. You love Kevin. I love you too, Kelvin. Kelvin, honestly, I love you too. You know why? You're here because you know it's the truth already talking. You have your ways, I just tell you all kind of things, but I think genuinely that in your heart you know. But it's because you have a difference of opinion in the party that you support. But it's just like I don't like soursop, but it's not that soursop. But if somebody likes soursop, I wouldn't argue with them why you shouldn't know. That is a choice. That is a choice. But don't come to push that on. Because I don't push nothing on nobody. I just give you views. I don't tell you you have to. You have to. I tell you that you should. That does not have to. If you make a choice not to, you will have to deal with coulda, shoulda, woulda. So again, I don't force my views on anybody, and I hope people don't feel like forcing my views on anybody. But of course, I'm partial to the People's National Movement because I know what they would have done for this country. I have studied a couple of times at the university and I've been able to access GATE. I have gone to school. I went Woodbrook Secondary and before that Tranquil Primary. I've seen the policies put in place, the breakfast, the lunch, the school book grant, uniform grant, so many things that was done under People's National Movement that I am forever grateful. That is me. If people are not, I can't do anything about that. So people, love you all, love you again, Kelvin, Roxanne, Sandra, the whole clique. Love you all. See you all on Friday Gospel when it will be the Wednesday, first, second, the 3rd of January 2025. Let us pray. Let us really pray that this initiative that the government has taken to treat with the crime situation, that it works and that people do better, because we can do better, we can be better, all of us. And let us start to build this country seriously as a people, as a nation, cosmopolitan, all races together. Love yourself, know yourself, know your history, don't be ashamed of your history, don't be ashamed of yourself. Love yourself, that's the first love. Whether you come from, your ancestry was Dalits from India, where they came from enslaved Africans, where they came from indentured Chinese, where they came from indentured Syrian Lebanese community. Love yourself, know your history, don't be ashamed. We are here, and we have done well. African people have done extremely well. We are just not a people who just show up yourself and boast. We have never been like that. There are some people like to let you know. We not so. We just do it in quiet and you never know. You know, so we have millionaires, we have professionals, we have doctors, we have the lawyers, we have, and I tell you already, Israel Khan SC, he trained under one of the best of the times in criminal law, Dr. Enos Wills, I think it was an African man who ancestry was enslaved Africans, being house slaves and field slaves. That's who they learned from. So, oh, let's stop telling me about that because all they go like if we were to call you all certain things and which we don't do. So don't do that to us, please. Don't. You can find other things to say. You don't have to reach and sing to that. I'm speaking in general. And again, I ask the question not only to Senior Counsel Israel Khan, who I respect tremendously because he has a very successful career in criminal law in this country. I just want to ask you all again, will it be okay you calling me house slave and Negro and Creole and slave master name if I were to tell you you are Dalit and if I were to tell you what your ancestors used to do in India and all those things and what I call you a Koolee, a bong Koolie, if you all will feel pleased about it. I'm sure you would not. You all will be talking discrimination and racism. So yeah, well, don't get talking for like you get talk, right? People, I love all you. I gone. See you all on Friday. Go stay safe. Hug your family. Tell somebody you love them. So they hug your trend. Let the trend we love them. And let us bring in. Remember the pets when you all bursting all your fireworks and stuff. Remember the pets. Remember the elderly. Remember those in the community who might be sick and all that. Be careful. Also looking on them. Make sure they have something to eat. Don't forget the elderly. Make sure they're drinking water. And let us be a community again when we look out for each other, whether Indian, Chinese, Syrian, whoever, African. Let us look out for each other, please. And then we meet January 3rd, 2025, 5:30 p.m. I'm coming with something fresh, something new. Love all you are going. Let me see condolence with the glory pastor. Oh my God. Another brother died was his or is oh I know his brother had died last year or something. Is another brother? Okay. Well, I too offer my condolences if you all are saying that his brother has passed. So I offer my condolences to Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley and his family on the passing of his brother from the Louis Togley Ting family. Or them lawyers line up dribbling. No, they don't have anything to line up for because the rights of the clients will not be recognized. So there's nothing to line up for. If anybody is held under this condition, they're held for 48 hours, and the law enforcement could petition the court for extra 7 days, and then until they get whatever. So lawyers it are not lining up. If they go to a home that the police suspect is involved in XYZ, they don't have to get a search warrant or anything from anybody. They can't go. If there's somebody walking where they find looks suspicious, whatever, they could stop you and shake you down, rub you down, whatever the case. No lawyer ain't getting involved in that because under the SOE, all the constitutional rights are suspended. That is why it's only for a period of time. So you have no rights. This is a police state right now, and the police is in charge basically. But because they don't have a curfew, it was not extended to the general population of Trinidad and Tobago. It is targeting only the criminal elements in our midst who refuse to do the right thing. So it are no lawyers lining up and dribbling. Not this wrong. This is not Kamla Prasad Bisesa and she limited state of emergency, which was illegal. This is something totally different. So it have no lining up to dribble. You have nothing to dribble for. The client can't go and ball wrong for arrest. They say, how that's wrong. So no. Yeah? So people love you all. See you all on Friday. Godspeed. I'm going. Furniture Plus, I want my furniture. I want the delivery people to come and give me my furniture, please, and drop the woman washing machine so she could wash she clothes and not dirty clothes in she house for all years. You know, we have a tradition, we house clean, clothes wash. We put the black eyed peas on the table. We clean clothes, everything nice. We want a little money in we hand. And when 12 o'clock, we open up the door and think that the breeze come in and we go out and we say a prayer. Irish tradition, right? Don't make the new year meeting with your hand, you have no money in it. Keep a little $5 or $10 something. You cook the pidgey, what you call it, black eyed peas and rice and this and that. Irish tradition, right? So love you all I God. See you all. I Sandra. See you all on Friday, go stay blessed, stay loved, stay woke, keep love alive. Make sure 2025, you know the assignment of God.
My extra meal at time and who say time is bacchanal. I woke in the cocoa, I sleep without a pay. I woke in the sugar cane for 25 cents a day. I woke in the oil field for 5 cents an hour. Then came Uriah Butler to give me plenty power. He tell me,